Hello everyone, I'm Vin Ebenu here in the Townsquare Media Jersey Shore newsroom for the 5th episode of Ask the Chief. Following Toms River, Brick, Barnegat, and Stafford police chiefs coming in here, we have our first Monmouth County police chief on the show, Peter Pezzullo. Thank you for coming in and being here to discuss police work, community programs, and everything else.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
So, start with something a little bit lighter over the weekend with a bowl game that took place at MetLife Stadium that was for a good cause, raising money for Special Olympics New Jersey. Tell me a little bit about the game, how you guys did, or how not so well you did.
It's a very good event. It's great for bonding, not only amongst the police officers of Marlboro Township, but we get to bond with other police departments in the state of New Jersey. We're competing against other police officers, so it's good to get out there and raise money for a good cause and stretch the legs out. And although we were sore the next day, we had a great night. It was a lot of fun.
So, how many officers did you have on the team?
I think we had on the department we had 71.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. And so you had some brave police officers, detectives, kind of going out.
I was the old
field.
Man on the team, but it was good to see our younger officers come out there, and we had a great time.
Anybody take any hits?
A few of us took a couple of shots, but we're no worse to wear.
Excellent. Another community program I want to get to before one of them is something that came out this morning is the 2020 Youth Police Academy applications are going out that'll take place later this summer in August. So what is this police academy? What has it done? What is it looking to do with some of the youth?
Well, what we're trying to do in Marlboro is bring in community residents and obviously the youth of the community, bring them in, show them, give them a taste of what it's like to be a police officer. It's usually 2 weeks, and we train them in a lot of the things that you would learn while you're in the police academy. Obviously, it's a scaled-down version, but there's PT involved, and they're going to learn about the criminal laws of the state of New Jersey. They're also going to learn about the motor vehicle laws, and we give them quite a few, I guess you could say, police-related, scaled-down events that they can partake in and learn. It's a learning experience.
It sounds a little bit familiar to the Sheriff's Youth Week that Sean Golden runs in Monmouth County with some of the activities, some of the drills, the police work that they do. How long has your program, the youth program, been running, and have you consulted with the sheriff on different youth activities and what maybe you'd like to get out to the youth?
Yes, we've taken a few things from what Sheriff Golden has done. We try to make it our own, obviously, in Marlboro. We use all of our own officers for the training, and we take them on some nice little tours. So whether they go to the Monmouth County Jail or they get to go see a state police helicopter, things like that, we feel that our department is bonding very well with the youth of Monmouth County or Marlboro Township. We're also, I think this is our third year, so this will be our third time through the cycle, and it's been getting very good reviews.
How important is it to work with the young men and women or the youth who either have an interest in a possible career in law enforcement or are going to these youth weeks to learn more about law enforcement in general? Maybe they want to become a teacher or something else. In explaining what police do on a daily basis, the kind of projects or investigations they get into, and then just educating them about everything else that goes on a daily basis.
Exactly. It doesn't mean that every child or juvenile that comes through the youth academy is going to become a police officer.
Right.
We're trying to teach them positive traits. I look at it, and I've always said it to the youth academy classes, that it's more of a leadership building and a team building experience, and they're going to be able to take away the traits and the learning experiences and utilize them in anything they're going to partake in moving forward, whether it be athletics, whether it be a different line of work as they get older. But we're trying to teach them that their leadership skills that they're going to learn are they're paramount. And they really do come away with a great deal of pride and self-confidence once they graduate.
What are some of the questions that come about during the Youth Police Academy, or in general from the young men and women about anything to do with police work? Some things that maybe they're curious on, or some situations that they bring up that they want to know more about, maybe how police go about investigating things? What are some of the popular topics?
I don't know if I have any specific questions that they may or may not
Right.
ask, but a lot of it just revolves around what we do on a day-to-day basis, and how is it to make an arrest, or how is it to deal with somebody who's been in a car accident and things like that. What is it like to drive a police car at a high rate of speed? They want to know a lot of stuff like that because they're young. We definitely try to give them some of the insight. We also want to let them know that that's not the biggest part of policing.
Right.
Your pursuits or dealing with bad guys, although we do, there's a lot more to it. We service the public on so many levels.
What is, to go off that question, what is pursuit driving like? I believe police have to go through special training behind the wheel for
Yes.
pursuit driving
In the
stay
academy.
safe and everything. So what kind of training do they have to do police officers have to do for pursuit driving, and what do they need to know and be mindful of while they're pursuing a car on the road?
In the academy, they go through not just the language of the Attorney General guidelines, which sort of dictates to us how to go through a pursuit and what's legal and not legal, but they also have to go through an 8-hour field course where they're out there with state police and county instructors, and they're taught how to actually fundamentally utilize a police vehicle in a safe manner at high rates of speed in tight areas. And the course it's quite intense, and you come away with a greater understanding of safety and understanding your vehicle and what your capabilities are behind the wheel. We in Marlboro are not we're not so apt to do pursuit driving because of where we live and the area of the state that we live in. So we don't have a lot of major highways that come through, and we've been fortunate enough to remain safe and not do anything that would put our officers or the community in danger.
Generally, going off pursuit driving, and I've seen it, different towns, counties, agencies, of police saying they've had to stop a pursuit because of a safety issue to the community or areas. There was another incident where a pursuit in Lakehurst, there was a driver doing 70 near a school zone, and police had to stop it because of the area it was in. So what are some of the factors that go into stopping a pursuit due to a safety concern?
Well, you hit the nail on the head right there. It's about safety. Not only safety of the officer, it's also the safety of the person that we're pursuing. It's the safety of the community. If we're driving through a heavily populated area or an area where there is a school and children could be, susceptible to being injured, we're going to call that pursuit off, and that's on the supervisor. So when an officer initiates a pursuit, he's got to make it known over the radio, and at that time, the sergeant on duty or the lieutenant on duty would monitor that pursuit. And once again, based on our Attorney General guidelines, we know when it's time to stop or cut off the pursuit.
Is it just a one-time training for pursuit in the academy, or is that something through any AG guidelines or law enforcement guidelines that an officer or detective would have to retrain behind the wheel at some point?
Behind the wheel, no. Behind the wheel, it's just that one time.
Okay.
But we get the update training every year on the Attorney General guidelines, so our officers understand the criteria behind starting a pursuit and ending a pursuit.
Sticking with the learning theme, and certainly the youth, the Growth Through Opportunity Program, the pilot is done by the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office. That took place just a couple months back for a few months. I know your department was involved, and you were speaking at their graduation ceremony with some of the cadets involved. Tell me how this program runs, how you worked with the cadet that was working with Marlboro Police through this Growth Through Opportunity Program, and how you helped train this cadet more about police work.
It was a great program. We were fortunate enough to be considered to be part of the pilot program, So this was the first in 2019. We were the first ones in. It was us and 4 other police departments. The prosecutor's office worked in conjunction with the ARC of New Jersey, and they were just going around trying to find out who would be interested. We jumped on board right away. The actual program itself, it's 16 weeks long. We take on an intern. They call them cadets, but we look at it as an internship.
Okay.
It's not so much to learn to become a police officer or work in a police atmosphere. It's more to gain the mentorship, the coaching, the ability to be more marketable and go out there and perform a job once you're graduating the program. So after 16 weeks, I guess our mission is to prepare our cadet to go out and function in a job somewhere in society, and they would have some skill sets to bring with them.
Now, from the program, would you be able to hire these cadets or interns to your department if they were looking for a job, or would they, if they wanted to pursue something, they would have to actually go through the academy or something else?
I think once again, if they wanted a job within a police department, they have to go through the normal process.
Okay.
We're looking at it once again as a way to build up their traits and their skill sets to go out and get a job of any type. Our cadet, he wound up landing a job with Cheesequake Park, and he's enjoying it. He just started, I think Monday was his first day, and he's doing a great job over there. He's very happy. I believe that he transitioned very well from the program into this job, and I think that it's because of the officers of Marlboro Township Police Department, those that interacted with him throughout the 16 weeks. The biggest thing I think we could take away from that is he changed as a person. He went from being very quiet and unsure of himself at the very beginning,
right,
and then by the end of the 16-week program, he is just so outgoing and so positive and such a, he really came a long way. And I think that that's the reason why he was able to land the job so quickly.
Do you think this is something that'll continue to grow within Monmouth County and maybe even beyond at some point?
I believe so. I think that we wound up taking this program, the ARC of New Jersey took it from another state. I want to say Virginia,
okay,
not 100% sure. But they want to bring it into New Jersey, and their hopes is that it'll spread outside of Monmouth County and maybe throughout the state. The program itself, from my perspective, although it's a little bit work intensive logistically for a police department, the positive upside is just it's so good that it would be difficult to say to stop the program. I say that we should just continue to push it out. I think other police departments are starting to jump on board. So you'll see it take off in Monmouth County.
How important, not just for the youth, but for people in general, is education with the community in letting them know, maybe why police do certain things or how police do certain things, whether it's pursuit, how an arrest is made, how an investigation is conducted, why, especially on social media, you can't release certain information before a certain period of time, in letting the general public know what police do and why. Well,
I'm a new chief in Marlboro Township. I've only been here since September of 2019. One of the philosophies I have is to be more proactive within the community, and along with that comes the information sharing and the transparency. When it comes to what we do, I think that within reason, if we're able to give out as much information as possible in certain scenarios, we're going to put it out there. We utilize social media to do so. We utilize our departmental website. We'll even use the Township website to get information out and to keep our community informed of what we're doing and even why we're doing it. So it's important from a perspective that the community should understand how the police department operates to a certain extent.
I want to transition to another topic, especially because you have a background of being in the military, serving 11 years, and then achieving the rank of sergeant with the Marines, Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm. about your experience of being in the military and being overseas first, and then transitioning to becoming a police officer and working in law enforcement here in the States.
I don't even know where to start. So I was obviously very young when I joined the Marine Corps.
Okay.
I was 17 years old, and for me it was just an opportunity to mature and grow, sort of give me a direction. Not saying that I was a troubled youth. I was
Right.
You know, very.
So that's why.
Yeah. So I was. I guess I was really looking for a direction in life, and the Marine Corps seemed to be the most logical place to, do that. Find myself. The going to the Gulf was an interesting experience. I was only. I think I was just turning 19 at the time, so stressful, but definitely an opportunity for me to grow up and see what it's like to I guess, address a certain aspect of my life. And I would say that at the time I wasn't so sure where I was going to go with my career, but my service to this country, I think, bled into my desire to, be a public servant for my community. And I've gained a great deal of discipline, leadership. Those traits have gone a long way. I think that's what's gotten me where I'm at today.
Have you had any conversations with other men and women who've served in the military and are now police officers about the transition that they went through before making the decision to serve their community in local law enforcement? Was it challenging in any way? Was it easy for some? Are there instances of PTSD or anything on the job where if something tragic happens, they kind of go home at night kind of looking back at maybe what could have been?
I haven't had an opportunity to really go out there and poll a broad base of individuals that have that are veterans and have come back and become police officers. I do know a few personally. Mm-hmm. Some have worked or do work in Marlboro Township and the surrounding towns. I think in general, the only real adaptation that we need to be mindful of is that the military is a different branch of discipline and leadership, and as you transition into the police world, yes, some of that does translate, but not at an extent that you see in the military. So we have to downshift a little bit. Everyone will tell you that policing is paramilitary, so it's not. It has a slight reflection to being in the Marine Corps, the Army, or so forth, but you still have to think about it from a perspective that it's a different working environment. So the level of discipline that you see on a day-to-day basis, it's not as strict as it is in the military, at least not in the Marine Corps.
One of the parts of the Ask the Chief show that we do here is invite residents from the community to submit questions to their chief. Got a couple of questions here all about Canine Bolo. Can you tell us a little bit about his skill set and training and some of the care that he receives and how he works with his handler? And
Canine Bolo is great. He's a young dog. He's only been on a little bit over a year. He and his handler have been doing a great job servicing the township of Marlboro and then some of the surrounding townships. He is an explosives detection dog, so he doesn't do the narcotics or drug detection.
Okay.
He does more the bomb detection, if you will. And we utilize him more to sweep areas that we're going to have big gatherings, or if he gets a call to a specific event or a call to a specific scenario where he'd have to be utilized. He's been doing a great job. His handler does most of his care, meaning like day-to-day care. If he has to be treated by a veterinarian, we have a veterinarian that we fund through the police department. and he would go there for basic care, checkups, and God forbid he had an issue.
Right.
They'll take care of him.
One of the other questions from Dr. Julie Tropiano here is, why doesn't Canine Bolo have an Instagram page yet? The dogs of Instagram.
He has he and his handler have the latitude to set up their own Instagram if they choose. He hasn't even come to me or asked me if I don't mind. I think it's a great idea to get out there on social media. We as a township, like I said, Marlboro Township Police Department, we have our own Facebook and Instagram page.
Right.
So we try to push out all of our community policing, all of our outside programs. We push it out there to the community, and we definitely make sure that Canine Bolo is involved in that. Just recently, I think we posted something. He attended a Purim event in Marlboro Township, so I know that he got a little bit of exposure there. So he's a great dog, and I think his handler, they've both been doing such a great job for us.
So maybe Bolo will get an Instagram page afterwards.
Yes, we'll have to do that.
Chief, what are some of the things that you enjoy the most about being chief, being in law enforcement, that you wake up every day, you get to go to work, and some of the things that you either enjoy doing or to an extent just being a part of law enforcement and being a part of investigations or anything that the police department does?
I think being a chief and my enjoyment of being a chief goes back to my enjoyment and my intent for becoming a police officer in Marlboro Township. It's where I grew up. I've been in Marlboro Township for 37 years, and I went through the school system there. I'm raising my children there, and it's just, there's nothing more rewarding than protecting and serving those that I grew up with, the people that I would consider my family. So Marlboro's a tight-knit community, and whether it's the mayor, whether it's the council persons, whether it's anybody that works for the township, anybody that I see on a regular, my neighbors, it's just one big family there, at least for me. And my police department is the same way. It's a philosophy that I've had from the day I walked out of the academy, is that the men and women that I work with in Marlboro Township Police Department are my extended family. And I take great pride in what we do and how we service the community and how we interact with the residents of Marlboro Township.
Chief, thanks for coming on today and discussing everything from Canine Bolo's Instagram to your department's efforts on the football field, and certainly all the police work and everything you do.
Thank you very much, Vin. I greatly appreciate it.
That's Marlboro Police Chief Peter Pezzullo. Coming up, our next episode of Ask the Chief will be with Freehold Township Chief George Bauman, who was promoted to chief back in February of this year. So he'll be here to discuss some community programs, police work, like Chief Pezzullo and the 4 other chiefs we've had on the show. Check our Facebook page and the WOBM YouTube channel for past videos, and certainly this one and a lot more. Again, thanks to Marlboro Police Chief Peter Pezzullo. I'm Vin Ebenu in the newsroom for the 5th episode of Townsquare Media Jersey Shore's Ask the Chief.